It's the wartime weekend on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. Nostalgia's big business these days, and record crowds are queuing up for a taste of the past.
Take your time, do not rush onto the train. Let people get off first.
Every year there's a military invasion at Pickering, with thousands of tourists and hundreds of reenactors turning up to relive the sights and the sounds of the Second World War. This little town's heaving with people, spectators crammed into every corner. The roads are being closed for a full-blown military parade, and it's a major worry for the railway's special events officer, Jeff Pearson.
There could be anything up to about 700 reenactors and probably 30 to 40 vehicles, including an M18 tank, which is the first time we've actually had a tank here, which is good. So that's quite unusual. We're looking forward to that. The interesting thing is we get some genuine old parties come and join us. We've got some women from the Women's Royal Air Force Association. We're all in the war. Turned up yesterday, 12 of them, and said, can we march? So we said, of course you can march, because you've got your passes and you're genuine. So that was great. It's tremendous business for the railway. I mean, I don't like to sort of just stress commercialism, but it's very important for a railway like ours to make as much money as we can to plough back into the infrastructure. It's getting very old now and we need to replace a lot of stuff. So every penny we can make is vital. It's important to, I think, the town and to the area, because this is genuine living history. When you can do this and take people back to 1943 as we do, then they can see exactly what it was like. We want people to have fun, because actually everyone we speak to who was in the war will tell you they had a lot of fun as well as a lot of heartache. And they like to remember the fun that they had. And there was a sense of community at that time.
Everybody, come on!
But from the railway's point of view, of course, that was the time that they were used more than any other. Since the war, it's gone backwards, railways. This was their real prime time. And of course, they were vital to the war effort. And we try to reflect that in what we do here.
The whole railway gets involved for the wartime weekend, with every station flooded with soldiers and civvies dressed up to the nines in authentic costumes. Sometimes it's so real you have to pinch yourself.
Yes, please.
The military reenactors are always popular, the kind of attraction that always drags in the crowds.
Extremely busy. Busiest ever, I think, this wartime weekend, yes.
I think we fitted into a niche, a customer niche, which brings the people in. They like to see the old uniforms and the old genteel way of going about it.
This year, the wartime weekend is proving almost too popular. With every ticket sold and every transport pass issued, the trains are jam-packed, and at Pickering Station there's standing room only. Still, there is a war on, you know.
It's the busiest we've ever been. The guys that run it really publicise it, and we seem to have caught the mood.
Peter's called out the maximum number of staff and volunteers to keep the railway running smoothly. But even then, it's all hands to the pumps.
I can see records broken, because we had a good year last year. 1.3 million journeys. As you know, I always trot out the figures. We've hit the record in every part of the job today. This is the record of records.
Of all the special events in the railway's calendar, the wartime weekend has always proved a particular success.
We started this off about 30 years since to commemorate the lads and lasses that were lost their lives in the war, the railway people. And it's built on this fantastic, can't believe it. And now you've got Pickering absolutely chock-a-block with vehicles, people, and I must admit, this is the thing I like. The ladies' dress, I think it's the finest dress that we've ever had. You take all your modern ones and old-fashioned ones, the war years, I reckon, around the war years, were the best ones.
Do you like that one? I do. I prefer that one.
Every reenactor likes to wear the proper gear, and at Pickering there's a roaring trade in glad rags from the 1940s. Sadly, not at wartime prices.
I think that is better on you. Yeah, and it does look nice. It's a nicer suit. That is nice, but that's just nicer. We like that one. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That one and that one. I'll go get changed now. Give those to your husband and then I'll sort you out. You get your credit card out, darling. All right? How are you getting?
Good morning to you. How are you? Well?
Yes, not bad at all.
Lawrence, you are...
All morning the troops have been reporting for duty and signing up for the military parade.
Nice to see you on board again. We're over 800 strong this year, so the parade is going to meet itself coming backwards. All right. Okay. Enjoy your day. See you on parade, sir.
The march past is an evocative mix of enthusiastic reenactors rubbing shoulders with genuine veterans.
My registrar, Major Harding, tells me we've got 800 or over 800 registered reenactors. That's not just people who dress up in uniform, they come in character. And we have 87 vehicles, civilian and military. But it's a big job. I remember 2 years ago, one of my officers was standing next to a woman. As the parade came down, the woman turned away, and she said with tears in her eyes, "I can't look, I can't look. I was here when they walked away that other time," meaning 1943-44, when the people who trained in this area and were made so welcome by Pickering people marched away to the station on their way to Operation Overlord, the invasion of Europe. And we don't set out to make people cry. But if we make them remember, we got it right.
Where's this tourniquet?
In the station car park there's more mayhem and buckets of staged blood as they recreate the carnage of an American field hospital.
Basically what it is an airman that's come down about a mile away from the town, a pilot, American pilot that's gone into some trees, and he was brought in by the local police, and we were basically a field hospital where we would triage the patient, which would basically work out, number one, he needs to go to the hospital first, and so on, 2 and 3. We just made him steady, got him comfortable, ready off to the hospital. This elevator, some pressure on, and also one tourniquet as well above the knee.
So very much of this time,
Public love it, especially the kids. The kids really love it. It's the adults that are the real wimps.
breathe.
We do, as a group, we also do the American Civil War, and we also do real amputations and stuff like that, and the public love to see it. It's actually living history. They learn and find out what happened, and also we explain to them how medical advances have become better because of wars. It's a hobby for me, it's escapism.
In Civvy Street, Stuart's actually a real paramedic. If only it was this easy.
The good thing about this, if I shout resurrect, the airmen will get up. Resurrect!
It's 1943, somewhere in North Yorkshire. The trains are packed with a new generation of soldiers and sweethearts as the Second World War comes alive again. For some, the excitement is just too much. For the wartime weekend, every station's under siege. Here at Goathland, better known as TV's Aidensfield, Heartbeat's been seen off by Dad's Army.
Should we have an air raid?
For the gentlemen of the Home Guard, life's a bit quieter down here, away from the crowds, but there's still a genuine commitment to show what their fathers did and remember why they did it.
I think these days there are a lot of people who don't really fully appreciate how we achieved our freedoms in this country. It's had to be protected all these years, and especially the Home Guard, amongst the rest of the troops, helped to preserve that way of life. And as I say, I think it's something that's too easily forgotten nowadays.
Back in Pickering, a cause for celebration. There's a real wedding today, with Carrie and Michael keen to tie the knot in genuine 1940s style. The Reverend Yvonne Baker, the wartime weekend coordinator, is back to his day job. But meanwhile, down the hill at Pickering Station, they're having a spot of bother.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together here in the sight of God and in the face of this congregation to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony. If any man can show any just cause why they may not lawfully be joined together, let him now speak, or else, hereafter forever, hold his peace.
Tony Bryan and his family relive the Blitz most weekends, fighting fires and manning the pumps at the drop of a helmet. They're serious about detail though, and this air raid is as accurate as they can make it. It might seem like no way to run a war, but he's quick to defend old-time technology, like these stirrup pumps.
Looks like we're getting the best of it.
Actually, they're quite effective. They can shoot up to 29 feet. I'm not sure what that is in metres, like, but you know, you can get through some water and that with them. Yeah, well, the 2 gallons of water you'll get through in no time. My wife ends up being the injured party, and we're the wardens. We have to rescue her from the building, and then the first aid party come on and attend to her wounds and everything and get her off.
For the crowds on the station, it's a fascinating sideshow and seriously good fun all round.
Yes, I think there has to be a sense of fun, and I don't think you'll find veterans begrudge us that, because we talk to the veterans and they thoroughly enjoy the fact that we try and represent what they do, what they did, and but you have to enjoy it.
Back at the church, they're enjoying it too.
Comfort her. Well, here were a young couple, and they're reenactors, and they thought what a wonderful idea it would be if they could have their wedding here in Pickering, when so many of their reenactment friends would be able to come to the wedding.
I will.
And so what we had yesterday was a wedding as it would have been in 1943. I conducted the ceremony wearing my other uniform, my ecclesiastical uniform, and everything was as it would have been then. Will the congregation now be seated for the signing of the registers? I did have somebody say to me when it was being planned, how do you feel about the bridegroom and the bride coming in 1940s gear, as a clergyman, how do I feel about it? I said, well, it makes a welcome change from the bridegroom coming as though he's dressed for Royal Ascot and the bride coming as though she's dressed as a medieval princess. We dress up and we call that the normal thing for weddings, but it's dressing up, it's reenacting. It was a marvellous occasion and they responded so well. And of course there was the Guard of Honour outside, the RAF because he was a squadron leader and bomber command, the Home Guard with their drawn bayonets, as Corporal Jones would say, they don't like it up and so, And of course so many of the family came, enter into the spirit of it and their guests in wartime gear and endeavoured to get not just the gear but into wartime character. That's the important thing. It was a marvellous occasion. I was thrilled with it.
At Pickering Station, amongst all the play acting, there's a real emergency. In the middle of nowhere, with a husband crippled with back pains, a hiker's flagged down one of the trains. The railway staff rallied to the rescue and, with the help of some of the passengers, stretchered him onto the train and called ahead for an ambulance. Now Stuart and the other paramedics are rushing to get him to hospital in York. For these hikers in trouble, the railway's been a real godsend.
We were hiking in the Yorkshire Moors. We started yesterday and it was getting dark, but we were heading to the campsite somewhere nearby. I don't remember the name of the campsite. But he has got severe back pain and he couldn't walk anymore. And I couldn't move him, it was too heavy for me. And we stayed overnight, just wherever we stopped. And he thought he will be fine through the night, but unfortunately it got worse. And I just asked Yorkshire Railway crew for help, and they were very kind. They stopped the train, they were very kind. They carried him, and everybody paid so much attention, and I appreciate the help, and it was just amazing.
Her husband's in real pain and discomfort, but it's not as bad as it seems, nothing too serious.
The chap involved, he's actually strained his back as much that he got muscular spasm. It actually come on last night, so they actually spent the entire night outside. So the lady was obviously in quite a lot of distress. The gentleman was comfortable, but obviously in a lot of pain from the muscular spasms. But got him back on the train, and the guard phoned for the ambulance to meet us at Pickering, and that's what he did. So we looked after him on the way back.
For Stuart, it's same job, different uniform.
Right, let's get down.
We're always there to help each other, and I gave him a hand because I had the muscle to do the lifting.
Okay, don't worry about him, he's going to be all right.
Yeah, I know.
No problem. Okay.
Thank you very much for that.
Amongst the noise and the fun, there's a chance to reflect on the price that was paid by those on the home front.
We meet this morning to pay our annual tribute to the railway workers who were killed by enemy action whilst performing their duties during the Second World War. The railway workers did not have to go to war. War came to them, and with it came death. Whilst others forget, we remember. We will now lay our wreath in tribute. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. We tried to do justice to the people who wore these uniforms for real. Somebody called my unit some time ago. They said, really what you are, you're living war memorials. And I thought, yeah, we are. And we're proud to accept that title.
After 2 days of living in the past, it's quite a journey back to the present.
Being in 1943 seems strange. By the time you've gone through the weekend, Monday morning, when you get back to the 21st century, that's strange. And that's the way it works. You get into this, the way of it, the way of living, and it is strange to come back to the harsh reality of the 21st century.
Next time, small toys for big boys. And keeping a grand tradition alive, join the lads for a footplate fry-up.